Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here, and thank you all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, as always, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Councilor Lombardi, would you lead us this evening?
Just take a moment to remember, moment of silence to remember those men and women who are fighting for us overseas, home and abroad. And in addition, this week is the remembrance of Pearl Harbor, December 7th, a couple days ago. So let's remember all those men and women who lost their lives at the start of World War II, and those who have lost their lives since that time.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today's date is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a Town Board work session. And for the record, all Town Board members are present with us this evening, as is Lieutenant John Dearman, the commanding officer of the Town of Carmel Police Department, Mary Ann Maxwell, the Town Controller, Rich Franzetti, Town Engineer in the back, Greg Fulchetti, Town Council. So the first item on the agenda this evening is to review of the Town Board minutes of November 18th and December 2nd, 2020. Unless anybody has any comments or questions regarding the minutes, we'll move on. Okay, there being none, first item on the agenda, Lieutenant John Dearman, Carmel PD, consider request to reject all bids and authorize advertise for bids for the purchase of police uniforms.
So we had initially went out to bid for police purchase uniforms, and we only received one bid back. So I'd like the board's approval to reject the bid and then authorize another advertisement for bids and see if we get more than one back. If we only get one back again, then I guess we're going to have to go with that vendor.
John, do you know if was it sent to other vendors, the bid packet?
Yeah, the town clerk's office sent it out to, I believe, 5 or 6.
And only one came back?
Only one came back.
Okay, so yeah, let's reject that bid and rebid it.
Are we in need of any uniforms now, John, or in the short term?
No, for now, we're still using the company we were with.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Greg?
I'll prepare a resolution
authorizing
authorizing the rejection, the authorization to rebid.
Okay, thank you. Okay, number 2 on the agenda, also Lieutenant Dearman, consider request, New York State DOT requesting no parking signs, Route 6 and Clark Place. It's actually east of the intersection of Clark Place and Route 6. John?
Correct. Through the Putnam County Traffic Safety Board, we received a complaint about vehicles parking on both sides of the entrance to the Albano Insurance Agency at 566 Route 6, causing a visual hazard for anybody trying to exit that parking lot. I went out there and looked at it, and I know we want to keep signs to a minimum, I think, and I also sent the board pictures that I took while I was out there. I think if we put just one sign 15 feet to the east of the ingress-egress and one sign 15 feet to the west with arrows pointing at each other just to block off that one little section of the curbing and the sidewalk, that should keep cars back far enough on each side that anybody pulling out will be able to see, and it's not just a blind pull out and hope that no cars are coming.
Yeah.
John, I'm pretty familiar with this spot right here. And you have businesses right there that have no off-street parking.
That's why I only want to do just the 15-foot section on each side.
I understand that you're only losing 2 spots. But I've always noticed right there, the vehicles that are blocking that exit and entrance are either U-Haul trucks or heavy-duty trucks that are tenants in that complex.
Okay.
So, I mean, what are we doing?
Well, if we make it no parking on each side, then they won't be able to park there.
Why doesn't the landlord just tell his tenants to park inside?
We can do that, but unless it's I believe unless it's zoned for no commercial parking or
I
no
suggest
parking
you- I
altogether, they're
suggest you
not
try-
violating the law.
I suggest you try that first before you take 2 spots away from downtown Mayapack.
The first thing,
At least until the parking lot is open.
first thing you need to do is get DOT's permission.
I was just going to say.
And that's a process. So if you want to solicit the possibility of DOT's approval for posting the no parking, that's one thing. And then if they are in agreement with it, before you actually pass the local law to prohibit the parking in those locations, you can do
That's the
those.
step.
Or while you can telescope it.
As a
need to get
landlord
them first.
myself, I can control where my tenants park, being the landlord. Maybe he can't control them from going out on the street, but he can exercise his strength as the landlord to get them not to park there.
So,
There's always
John-
U-Haul trucks there and car carriers or tow trucks. Those are tenants of that establishment. So
So,
I
John-
find it kind of ludicrous to remove 2 spots from downtown Mayapack instead of just asking the landlord to have his tenants park inside. That's what blocks the view, not a regular car.
So that's what I was just going to ask, if 2 regular cars, size cars, and they could be like a Ford Explorer, which is a larger car, or a Volkswagen Bug, if they were to park where you want to put it, where the bigger trucks are parking there now, will they still obstruct the views? Because if they do, then there should be no parking. But if they're smaller, then we can talk about that later. But if a regular car that parks there, you know, and that would have to include one of the larger cars that a family drives, you know, like a larger size thing. If they do obstruct it, then it's still a safety hazard for the people pulling in and out. Well, not so much in, out.
Or can you restrict it to just passenger vehicles only, no commercial vehicle parking?
No, but what I'm saying, a passenger vehicle could be a Ford Explorer, which is a large car. So if, I mean, just get 2 people that have 2 large cars and park them there and have somebody come out and see if they're obstructed. And if they're obstructed from the view, that's still a safety hazard for, if you know, I don't own a big car right now, but if I did, that's still a passenger car. So that wouldn't alleviate the possible problem. That's all, I'm just asking just to do a little bit more, you know, before a decision is made. And like you said, we have to go through New York State anyway. But before we make a final decision, let's, you know, get 2 people with 2 larger cars and see if that does, in fact, obstruct the view of people exiting.
Okay.
You could use that same theory across the street at Mayapack Glass.
Yeah.
At Dwyer Agency.
Yep.
You know, you take 2 spots off every entryway, you're taking all the spots out of downtown Mayapack.
All right. Okay, John, go on to number 3, consider request to authorize education stipend reimbursement, P.O. Arthur Klaskowski.
Arthur Kloskowski's coming up on his 1-year anniversary with the police department. He received a bachelor's degree in business administration from Pace University, and as per the PBA contract, is due a $900 education stipend. Because it's his first year, would be the first one after today, it'll just roll over and become an automatic thing if approved by the board.
Okay.
Per the PBA contract, he's entitled to it. So, all right, we good with this?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. I'll handle the next one for the Highway Superintendent, Mike Simone. Consider request to authorize purchase.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank
And
you.
I thought 2-3 weeks ago, you said if any,
It was more than that.
it was more, a month
Yeah.
ago, you said whoever has something in front of the town board, if they want to get it done, to be here. You want to do it, but you're contradicting what you said 4 weeks
Yeah, I
ago.
know. I know I am. I know. Well, I think, Mike, just for the, in fairness to the seller, I think he's been waiting months for this, and you're right. I'm not sure why the highway superintendent's not here. I didn't hear from him, but I think for the sake of,
Because he assumes you're going to do it.
well, he shouldn't always assume that. But I think in this case, what do you want to do? You want to just handle it in this particular
No,
case?
You're doing it as a courtesy to
I'm
the
doing it
seller.
as a courtesy to the seller, not necessarily to the highway superintendent who should have been here to present it. So, just out of courtesy to the seller who's been waiting, for these to be paid on these items, let's just handle it tonight. And going forward, that we're not going to be handling any more of the highway superintendent's agenda items unless he's here to present them. All right, so this is.
Well, it wasn't just the highway superintendent, it was all departments.
It's all department heads, and that's why we have,
No, I know.
we had 3 here today.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but just to clarify what you had said, it
Yeah.
wasn't just particular to one department, it was to all departments.
All departments, right? So, let's just, for tonight, for the purposes of moving forward with this one, this is a request to purchase a 2014 Wacker Newson RD12A roller. I'm requesting authorization to purchase the following used equipment from Cricket Construction, vendor number 10051. Again, it's the 2000 Wacker roller. It's used, it has 260 operating hours on it, and the price is $12,000. And there was, sorry, just shut this off.
We're using that with a lease or something?
Yeah, this was being rented.
Rented.
It was temporarily being rented from the seller, and the highway superintendent did go out, and he got prices for a similar roller, Wacker Nunson RD12A for sale, and the price that he had gotten as a comparison is $14,500. So the price, he actually got 2. The second one was $11,900. So the asking price or the selling price of $12,000 is in line with what other similar rollers are selling for.
I know this machine myself, and it's an excellent machine at an excellent price.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot more than that if you're going to buy it new, and it's in great condition. It's in excellent condition and well-maintained. So, board's okay with moving forward with this, with authorizing the funding for this? Okay. All right, so the next item, number 5 and 6, is Mary Ann Maxwell, the Town Controller. Good evening, Mary Ann. And Mary Ann is here. The first item is to consider budget revisions November 2020.
Okay, be patient, there are a lot of them. This is the budget revisions through November of 2020. In the general fund, number 1, we're providing for the payout of accrued vacation time, a total of $3,381 with the Justice Court and the Rec Admin. Number 2, we're providing for the cost of outside legal counsel investigation per authorizing resolution. The total dollar amount of that is approximately $40,000. Number 3, we're providing for the purchase of PPEs and disinfectant materials through August 31st of 2020. This is the FEMA project, number 145275. I have already submitted for the reimbursement of $15,710 through August for those PPEs and disinfection materials. I have not received anything. I don't think any towns have received anything as of yet.
Has there been any notice from any government with regard to towns submitting?
Towns have submitted. Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm on a conference call with other controllers every Friday, and
But
no
nobody's
towns
received anything.
have received reimbursement yet.
Okay.
From August 31st through September 15th, we are going to be requesting reimbursements of $4,800. We also will request reimbursements for the plexiglass, which totaled $21,000, and the cleaning of Town Hall, we will request reimbursement for that. That Supervisor Schmidt, that was authorized last, I guess, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
That was $4,700. So we will be submitting for that through different reimbursement requests. But, I don't know what they're going to end up paying. So as of right now, they haven't paid anything, so.
I
We'll
also,
just keep our fingers crossed.
Mary Ann, I also put in a claim through NYMER for the deep disinfection and sanitizing of the town hall, and it was denied. So they're not paying on claims for disinfection and cleaning of buildings due to
Right.
COVID cases. They just denied it.
Yeah.
So,
Yep,
That was the insurance.
our
company.
insurance. company,
Insurance, that was
NYMER.
insurance, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't think it would hurt to try.
Right.
Who knows, maybe they would have
Oh, yeah.
covered it.
Yeah.
But they're not covering building maintenance associated with COVID.
right, exactly, yeah.
Unless
So-
it's maintenance, you know. They're not gonna-
That's the way I look at it. They look at it, they
It
view
has
it
to
as
be a-
maintenance. Yeah.
Yeah, has to be
So-
damage, some kind of
This is
damage for
worth
a
a try.
claim.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, I'll keep the board posted with, when and if we do receive reimbursement on anything. Number 5, we're transferring $23,180 into the Swan Cove Park improvements. This is coming from the contingent line, and that's for the transfer, is for the demolition and removal of the foundation that was done last week, I think it was, down at Swan Cove.
Yeah. And can I just speak on that for 1 second,
Sure,
Mary Ann?
Sure.
The contractor that we used, Liberty Bell, Lee Schultz, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but go down and take a look at how
Great-
nice it
great
came out.
job.
Right.
Great,
Mike?
clean,
Yeah.
great job.
Clean, he backfilled it with clean soil, he actually seeded it, put hay over it, he moved the pile of rocks. The pile of rocks look like they blend in actually with the, on the right-hand side where the retaining wall is behind the gas station. He flattened the top off so it doesn't look like it's peaked up. The guy did an amazing job. He's an excellent contractor, and he gave us a phenomenal price too,
Yep.
to do the work. So he did a lot, and for $23,000, it was just, and it really came out nice, So I just wanted to mention that
Yep.
Yeah, Mary Ann, that
Yes.
price included the removal, or not removal of the rocks, but the moving of the rocks, right? Also, should you put that down there as well?
That's what was approved by the board.
Yeah, that's included, so that-
So
Yeah, so should it
Should it
say
state that?
on the budget revisions, no, it doesn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
I mean,
part of
it's-
the, it was part of the
It's
contract,
part of the,
Okay.
yeah.
yeah. And the soil that we used to fill in the foundation actually came from our own stock of material. It came from the highway department that they had run through they actually cleaned it. It was run through a process where it came out very clean, the soil, and it's good fill. And it looks just like topsoil. And I'm sure grass is going to grow on it.
The 23,180 included the rock.
Included, yes.
Okay.
Included,
20,380 plus 28.
yeah.
Perfect.
Included.
So included
Yeah.
that. So.
I can add that on here, to the budget revisions.
Yeah, just rock relocation.
Yep.
This way it's complete.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Nope,
Mary.
That's okay. Okay, number 6, we're transferring for downtown revitalization engineering expense, $59,000. That's also coming from the contingent account. Number 7, we're transferring for staff salary adjustments for 2020, 1 in the controller's office, 3 in the engineering department, 1 in the highway admin department. And that's coming from the town board reserve compensation line, and also 10,000 is coming from the engineering consultant line that was budgeted in 2020. Number 8, we're transferring for expenses within the general fund. Number 9, we're transferring for legal services. 30,000 is being increased into the defense legal line, and 2,000 is going into the special counsel board legal services line. Number 10, we're transferring for lake patrol and community patrol overtime. 10,000 is going into the community patrol overtime line, and 2,500 into lake patrol. Number 11, on page 2, we're transferring to the airport capital fund for the septic system contract. So $89,230 is going to be transferred. If you look to page 5, the bottom of page 5, you'll see the transfer into the airport park.
Mary Ann?
Yes.
Before you jump down, just so the public knows, the contingency account for downtown revitalization, Rich, we supposed to have a report on that soon? So the public is going to ask, what's happening downtown, and we're paying them.
So, yes, Rob and I are meeting with Jeff Cantelmo tomorrow. I had emailed Jeff to find out what the status was to have some preliminary drawings. He indicated in his email to me earlier today that we would discuss it tomorrow, but he wasn't going to meet the mid-December deadline. So I will give a better update with an email to the board tomorrow after I meet with Jeff and Dawn and Rob and I tomorrow.
Tell Jeff not meeting the December deadline is not good.
The one that he had put in an email, no.
All right, and make sure we get copies of it all.
I will forward, but we're going to meet tomorrow. He indicated that there were reasons he didn't put it in an email, so I will find out tomorrow what they are, and I will relay that to the board, so that the board is aware of what's going on.
Okay, thanks, Rich.
No problem.
And Marion, on the police overtime transfer,
Yeah.
we're down considerably this year with police overtime, right?
We are down, yes, we are down, yes.
Just want the public to hear that. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
That's
interrupt
okay,
you.
I think we're under 500,000.
Yeah, we're down.
The last time I looked,
Considerably.
I can get that to you, I'm off
No,
tomorrow.
no, no,
but
no,
can
I just,
definitely-
when
Yeah.
the public hears us say we transfer police overtime.
Yes, we
I want
were
them to know
over-
that this board has got this overtime down
Yes,
considerably.
we're actually transferring from the overtime line, regular overtime line, into Lake Patrol and Community. But we are definitely down in regular overtime. The Lake Patrol was much higher this year,
That's the next project.
but, so that's why we did have to transfer. This is the second transfer that we had to transfer into Lake Patrol. So,
Thank you, and I didn't mean to throw you off.
no, that's fine. No, I welcome the questions. Okay, so, where was I now? Number 12, we're transferring for miscellaneous recreation expenses within the recreation budget. Number 13, we're transferring for the e-waste and shredding events. The total transfer for that was $15,700 for the e-waste and $2,000 for the, I'm sorry, the $2,000 was for staff time. For, I think recreation helped with that. A couple different employees helped with the recreation, with the
That last e-waste cost us what?
e-waste and shredding cost $15,700.
15,000?
700. That's what we're transferring. I don't know the exact amount of the total e-waste and shredding, but
Well,
I
it
think
was,
I think it was approx-
let me just say, it was an extremely successful event.
yeah.
There was
That
over two,
serious stuff out
there was
Yeah.
200
Oh,
yards,
absolutely.
200 yards of e-waste,
Mm-hmm.
5 40-yard containers completely filled,
Yeah,
overflowing with e-waste. It was just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think during COVID, people actually
Went through
cleaned
their
it, went
stuff.
through their
Cleaned their
houses,
houses.
went through their basements, their garages, their sheds. They
Yep.
got everything ready, and they, so I think that's what it was. I'm just guessing. And
Excellent,
also,
yeah.
people upgraded their technology during COVID. You know, they may have had old, slower machines. They bought new machines and had to get rid of it somehow. A lot of air conditioners, a lot of portable air conditioners were dropped off this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if people just bought newer air conditioners or they installed, you know, whole house air conditioners, central air. Could be, I don't know. But it was, so when we do it next year,
yeah.
we probably should do it in June, May or June. And then we'll see how it goes, and maybe one in the fall. But I think doing one, I don't know if we're ever going to have one with that much e-waste.
You did 2 last year, right?
No, we did one
one last
because of
year?
COVID. Yeah, we only did
No,
one.
last
No,
year,
last year we did
2019.
two on two separate, one was a paper shred day and one
Oh,
was the
okay,
U.S. day.
okay.
2 separate days.
In 19, Marianne?
Yeah,
This year
19.
we combined
That's what I'm
it
talking
into
about.
one.
Yeah.
I
So-
know in 2020, we did budget for it. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing a budget transfer,
Yeah.
because we started this, you know, in 2019, and we didn't get it in the 2020 budget, so that's why it's over budget. That line, the recycling line, is over budget. So,
Yeah.
anyway, but it is included in 2021.
Yeah, it's a popular event,
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
all saw,
Yep,
you know.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that I would definitely recommend we continue.
yes, okay. So in the highway fund, we're transferring for CHIPS highway project cost of $1,700, and we're also transferring for miscellaneous expenses in the highway to fund. In the Lake Cassie Park District and Lake Mayapack and Secor, we're transferring for miscellaneous expenses within the park districts. Also in Lake Cassie, we're transferring for capital expenditures. I believe they're working on some capital projects in that district. And on page 3, in various water districts, we're providing for equipment replacement due to tropical storm Isaias. From, I don't know, I can never pronounce that, from anticipated FEMA reimbursement. We have a call next week. Putnam County was approved for reimbursement for FEMA for that tropical storm, and we have a conference call on Monday
Okay.
with FEMA to get that moving.
I'll be on it. And they have our list, right?
Yes, they do.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So now on pages 3, 4, and 5, there are various, I'm not going to go through all of them. This is with pretty much all of our water and sewer districts. We're transferring within the districts for expenses for emergency repairs, contractual repairs, equipment. Some of the transfers are reimbursement from insurance claims that we submitted. I mean, if the board wants me to go through each of them, I can. If you have any questions on any of them, be happy to answer any questions. The transfers this year were extensive. And I think a lot of it has to do with the certified payroll with the operators. The expenses were substantially higher this year with the operators, with, different things. I do want to point out that on page 4, we, for Carmel Water District number 10 and Carmel Water District number 13, we do have to pull money from the fund balance. Also on the bottom of page 3, Carmel Water District number 6. So what that means is there's not enough money in that district in the expense lines to transfer from the expenses. So we have to pull money from the fund balance. And I'm a little concerned about that because, we have been pulling money from the fund balance, and we're also budgeting from the fund balance in 2020 and 2021. So our fund balances have depleted a lot in the water and sewer districts. I did, have talked to Rich about this. I've, gone over this with Donna, so it's just something we really have to keep an eye on. Water District number 10, we're transferring $9,000 from the fund balance. Water District 13, $9,500 from the fund balance. On page 5, in the sewer districts, Sewer District 4 always had a very healthy fund balance. Now it's almost down to $30,000, and we're transferring $4,500. Sewer District number 6, we're transferring $10,000 from the fund balance. So I'm just, this is a little bit of a concern to me, because the audit, I know we're always looking at the general fund, the fund balance in the general fund, which is healthy, but I'm a little concerned about the water and sewer districts.
That's because of the increase associated with repairs, because of the...
Yeah, it's emergency repairs, it's equipment that's failing, it's, and, I'm not saying that we, can't do these things that are necessary, but I don't know, if you remember when we did the budget, a big part of our levy increase this year was in the districts. So now we're pulling money from the fund balance because of these repairs that we're continuously having to do, so I'm just bringing it to your attention because it's
Should we increase the repair reserve lines in those districts? Should we look at those lines?
What we can do, we have some repair reserve in the, fund balances in the districts. The problem with that is you can use the money in the repair reserve, but you have to pay it back. So we could, instead of pulling it from the unreserved fund balance, you can pull it from the reserve, but you have to pay it back over the next 2 years. So you'll have to increase taxes over the next 2 years in those districts to pay that back. So, I think that's what we're planning on doing. I think there's a generator in Water District 10 and 13 that we're looking to get. I think we had talked about that. I think Rich is looking at that in 2021. We're going to have to pull that from the fund balance, from the reserve fund balance. So. Anyway,
they'll have to repay it.
Yes, in 2022 and 23, they'll have to pay that back. So we'll have to raise taxes in 22 and 23 to pay, to replenish that reserve fund balance,
Rich, is this an anomaly, or is this something that going forward, is this a trend that we might be seeing, that we're seeing an increase in pump failures and things like that, and equipment failures, or maybe even repairs to the system? Do you see this as just an unusual year that has cost, excessive amount?
The answer is this is an unusual year. Part of it has to do with the prevailing wage. I think that's where we're getting hit the most. We do have older infrastructure. Our systems are older. Part of the asset management program we're doing is to identify this, start planning forward, going from there. But yeah, we have systems that just need TLC on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I think the asset management thing will also help, you guys in planning, so that, like you're not, you're planning for the future instead of looking back and trying to.
Right, so we won't be reacting, we'll be a little more proactive with it. That's the intention behind it, so.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we should consider increasing the what we're allocating in the districts for, repairs and things like that during the course of the year? Should we increase those district,
Any given
operating
year is
costs?
different, it all depends, so
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't.
we did, when we did the 2021 budget, we did, Rich, Donna, and I, sat down and we looked at, what they think is going to come up, and so
Yeah.
I think the 21 budget, hopefully, we won't be pulling money, we won't be doing these transfers,
Right.
you should be budgeting money in your equipment lines, budgeting money in your sludge lines, your chemical lines, so you don't have to do these transfers, So I think we did, take a good look at that this year in the 2021 budget.
We at least attempted to do that.
Yeah.
And next year in November or December, we'll be able to tell you what story that is.
Yeah.
At that point in time, Mary
Right,
Ann will
yeah.
tell that story along with us as necessary.
I just have never seen this many transfers
No,
in the
I-
water and sewer
yeah.
districts. It's a lot.
I haven't seen as many
you know?
either. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the
So-
infrastructure, our infrastructure is aging. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And things are going to go. Equipment's going to fail. But it's going forward. I'm just, questioning whether or not we're funding enough money in the districts to cover these costs without borrowing it from the.
Well, I think that's why in 2021, we did have to raise the levy a lot,
Yeah.
because, we were with the certified payroll and the prevailing wages, that was
Mm-hmm.
kind of something that came on us like in,
Mid-year.
yeah, mid-year, but, it was, so when we adopted the 2020 budget, these increases were not in the 20
Right.
budget. So going into the 21 budget, we knew that these expenses were going to be, increasing. So the 21 budget, that's why we, had such a short, like with increasing the
Yeah.
levy, we didn't
Okay.
have much room,
So let's see how 2021 goes.
Yeah,
Hopefully better than 2020.
And then we'll reevaluate it for the 2022 budget. In every way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In every way.
yeah,
Amen.
yeah, exactly.
All right, thanks, Rich. All right, thanks, Mary.
Yep, so, I mean, like I said, if anybody has any specific questions on any of the water and sewer districts, let me know. So on I'll go to the bottom of page 5, I did cover the airport park, that transfer in for the sewer or septic. And page 6, we're providing for project engineering costs with approved borrowing. That's in the Lake Mayapack Park District. $100,000 was borrowed. And then we're providing for, in the last one, in the highway resurfacing, we're providing for contractual paving from the transfer of the Odessa bond that was transferred last year of $22,000. Okay?
Okay.
That's it.
Any questions for Mary Ann on the budget transfers? I think we had them during her presentation. So, thanks, Mary Ann. All right, so Mary Ann's here for 6 also.
Yes.
This is considered 2020 renewal of the agreement for Penflex, Carmel Fire Protection Districts 1 and 2, the LoSAP, Local Service Award Program, length of service. Mary Ann?
Yeah, Penflex is who we use to prepare the LoSAP program for the Mayapack Volunteer Fire Department and the Mayapack Falls Volunteer Fire Department. The cost for Mayapack Falls is $6,900, and the cost for Mayapack Fire Department is $7,600. So it's a slight increase, I think, of $300 from each district. So in Penflex, what they do is they evaluate our LoSAP program each year and provide our service to our our volunteer firemen. And they also handle it for the Carmel ambulance as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, this is a benefit that the volunteer fire departments and ambulance, they earn it through a point system, and they have to maintain a certain amount of points for each year that they're in the system. And when they do eventually retire, or I don't want to say age out, but when they get to the point where they're 60, 65 years old, there is a benefit that they receive monthly. I think it's between $400 and $600 a month that they get for the years of service. They have to fulfill at least 20 years in the fire service and maintain an X amount of points in order for them to qualify for this. So that's what it is.
Right.
And they did it to try to attract new volunteers, to retain and to attract new volunteer firemen. to the departments. They offered this benefit. So, all right?
All right.
Thanks,
Yep.
Mary Ann.
Okay.
You all done?
Thank you.
All right. Good night. Hey, Rich. Okay, so Rich is here for 7, 8, 9, and 10. Rich, 7 is to consider request to acknowledge emergency repairs services Carmel Water District 8.
So this memorandum is being presented to the board, to advise the board of emergency invoices submitted and payments of excess of $10,000 for services rendered. Carmel Water 8, the water treatment plant. On August 4th, B&J responded to a pump failure alarms at the treatment plant. It was determined that the turbine pump 2 seized and locked and due to power surges at the plant due to the tropical storm at that time. This pump serves as the primary filter plant, clear well, and system pump. The pump was ordered on September 1st and installed on November 16th. There's an invoice of $23,075 for the purchase and install of the pump. The invoice has been submitted to insurance for reimbursement.
Okay, any questions, comments for the engineer on this item?
No?
Okay, Rich, go on to 8. Mike, did you have anything?
No.
No? Okay, go on to 8. Consider request to accept proposal for the purchase and installation of boiler/generator/propane tank, Lake Cassie Park District Clubhouse.
So the Lake Passy Park District received attached quotes for the purchase and installation of a boiler, a generator, and a propane tank at their clubhouse. Quotes were received as follows. For boiler, the contractor was Optimum Oil and Propane at $17,300, Burke Energy and Scafani Energy at $18,200 and $18,500 respectively. Based on the review of the quote and pricing, we recommend the project be awarded to Optimum Oil and Propane at a cost of $17,300. They are a licensed contractor in Putnam County. For the generator, they had 3 contractors: Danette Electric, Scafani Energy, and Burke Energy. Prices range from $11,250 to $22,500. Based on review of the quote and pricing, we recommend the project be awarded to Danette Electric at a cost of $11,250. Danette Electric is a licensed contractor in Putnam County. The purchase and install of a propane tank for the generator was also requested. Optimum Oil and Propane provided a price of $2,700. In this case, the Lake Cassie Park District would own the tank. The other quotes provided were for rental of the tank without installation, and therefore we recommend, and at the recommendation of Lake Cassie Park District, that Optimum Oil Propane be awarded this at $2,700. There are sufficient funds in the operating district to make these purchases. If there's any questions, let me know.
Okay, the 11,
They
I'm
should
sorry.
own it.
Go ahead, Mike.
They should own the tank. No, it's a good move.
Okay. Rich, the Dante Electric, or Danette Electric,
Yes.
$11,250, that covers the install also?
I believe, yes, it does.
Okay,
It says installed, and all electrical installed and permits and inspections.
okay. Okay, does anybody have any questions for Rich regarding this item? No? Okay, Rich, move on to the next item, number 9. Consider request to authorize renewal of agreement for the planning consulting services.
So as the board is aware, requests for proposals were solicited for the referenced project on January 15th of 2020. The contract at that time was awarded to Cleary Consulting. The contract term was from March 31st of this year to December 31st, with a one-year extension at the unilateral option of the Carmel Town Board. A copy of the RFP and memorandum is provided. Cleary Consulting has adequately performed this service for the Town of Carmel Planning Board, and recommend that the Town Board exercise its option to renew the contract commencing January 1st for a period of 1 year.
Okay, at the same cost, Rich, same cost as 2020?
Yes.
That was the option.
Okay. All right. This is an option to renew for 1 year.
Your option.
Richie, this is your wording, Cleary Consulting Services has adequately serviced the town of Carmel's planning board?
Yes.
Okay.
The word adequately services, we typically use that wording, sufficiently, adequately. We don't give any extra kudos, we
No,
don't
I
give
don't
any
mean that.
non-kudos, so.
Everybody knows my feeling. As far as I'm concerned, Cleary Consulting, I voted no since I've been here.
Understood?
And I'll vote no again.
Okay, Bob,
I'm good with it.
Suzie. Bob, Suzie, Frank. Suzie, I just have one question for you. Is the planner going to be brought in at some point to weigh in on the comprehensive plan? And I don't mean to, I'm just asking, I know initially he wasn't, but is there going to come a point in time where he does get involved with it?
Now, what they're doing is they're compiling all the information that they received from
The survey?
the survey and from the in-person thing. And I believe that he has been with Mike. I'm not sure, I'll have to find out, but I believe that he may have. I got to find out definitely, because there was a, I don't want to say a subcommittee, but a subcommittee dealing more so with the codes, per se. But, I mean, any Zoom call that I've had, he was never on it.
No, I know. I just thought that at some point, some phase during the process, I think the planner, should participate and be part of the discussions.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why is because we didn't know if we were going to keep them. So we
Right.
didn't want to send somebody in if we weren't going to keep them. So,
Do me a favor, just check with Bonnie.
yeah.
Bonnie, and find out from her at what point does the planner participate and is part of the discussions.
You can't have a comprehensive plan without a planner participating.
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my point. I think
Yeah.
he should be brought in.
I believe he was on one part of it.
Yeah.
But like I said, we didn't know if he was going to be still with us.
Okay.
If he is, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will check with
Any-
Bonnie too, because
any-
she may
It
have had,
wasn't meant to bring
yeah,
it up.
no. She may have had off conversations with him as well that I'm not aware of.
Okay.
Because she speaks to a whole bunch of people that, we hired them to be the professionals and I let them, take the reins.
I'm worried, and I don't want the public to be made aware of our planner's input after the fact. Okay, this is the most important part of the comprehensive plan, and any ideas that come up in terms of zoning and input have to be brought to the public immediately as they're being discussed internally with subcommittees.
It should also be brought up to the town board.
No,
Correct.
as you guys recall, the contract that we signed, they take all of the information that they have received and they bring it back to the town board. That's what they're doing. And I will check with Bonnie tomorrow
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so just so you know, Bonnie was
Thanks.
here
Yep.
earlier this week, or Nelson Pope and Voorhees, Bonnie, and she collected the final, if you remember, there were
Yep.
2 sets of boards there. So she collected the other one that had votes on it from the public meeting that was held a few weeks back. So they are compiling that information. According to Bonnie, they had over 900 electronic responses, which they thought was excellent for the project. So that's the last update I got from Bonnie.
Yeah.
There's something on the other side we need to talk about. There are outside agencies reaching out to Bonnie to talk to her
Right.
about changing the code. So that's something I think the board should just be aware of. I don't know if Susie's aware of it, but it's not something I don't want to talk about right here
Right.
in public.
Yep.
But it's something we certainly should have a conversation about. Kenny, I can touch base with you tomorrow
Yeah.
and let you know what's going on.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Rich. All right, so the next item is number 10. Consider request to authorize installation of a contractor's trailer or construction trailer at Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant. And this is at the request of Infomark, our O&M, our contract operation and maintenance operator for Carmel Sewer District Number 2 and Water 2. Rich?
So Infomark, as you mentioned, Supervisor, the operators of Carmel Sewer Districts, all our Carmel Sewer Districts and Water Districts 2, 3, and 12, have requested a permission to place an office trailer on Town of Carmel property for the management and operation of Town of Carmel business. Infomark is proposing a 12-by-60 trailer placed on the south side of the microfiltration building. They would have a separate meter for power. There would be no water or sewer provided for the trailer, and it would be at $500 per month. as a rental fee. Per Infomark, the intent of this request is to have space to conduct business meetings, have the ability to manage the Town of Carmel project effectively and efficiently on site. They've indicated they cannot 100% ensure that it would be only used for Town of Carmel business. However, their objective is to perform only Town of Carmel business at this trailer. A request was made to the assessor to determine if the recommended rental fee was sufficient. Per the assessor, there are no market indicators to tell us what this small area next to a sewage treatment plant with no water or sewer could be leased for, and he thought that $500 a month was fair. If the board is willing to move forward with this request per legal counsel, this request is subject to a permissive referendum. In addition, Infomark will be required to provide insurance for the trailer, additional personnel, vehicular activity and movements on the town's property, along with the lease agreement for us to review.
What's their reasoning for needing this?
Excuse me?
What's their reasoning for needing this?
They used to rent an office space in town, and they can't hold their office meetings, so they have weekly meetings, and they just hold them outside right now.
Are the office meetings and weekly meetings for the town have to do with the town sewers?
Yes, well, that's their indication that they're doing that. He would meet his personnel, they would meet at the plant, and then they would send everybody out. So they have the water people meeting, the sewer people meeting, and then they go out in their separate ways to go do the work for the day. It would be more of an organizational meeting.
There's nobody in this room during the day.
I don't know if they want to meet here, because they normally set up, that's fine, we can offer that to them.
And who's
I don't
picking
know
up-
that
Who's
answer.
picking up the tab? Carmel Sewer too?
No, they're going to get paid $500.
I'm sorry?
Carmel Sewer District 2 would be paid $500 a month.
So I'm saying Infomark is paying for all of this?
Yes. They're paying us $500 and providing the trailer, and insurance and everything
It
else.
just sounds crazy. I don't know what it is.
Liability, property, auto,
Right.
everything before they did. And it's subject to permissive referendum, like Rich said, so even if you're inclined to do it, it's going to be another 30 days before you can even consider entering a lease once you approve it. Thereabouts, 30 days.
All right.
What are they paying for?
Rich, there's two items that I would like to see embedded in the agreement as part of it, is that it's renewed annually, gives the board the option whether they want to renew it or not. And if at any time the contract between the town of Carmel and Infomark is terminated, that trailer is immediately to be removed or vacated from the property.
At the cost from.
At the cost of the applicant, of the owner of it. So annually renewed,
Okay.
and if the contract is, for whatever reason, is terminated, or we no longer want to do business with Infomark, the trailer has to leave the site. Greg, is that fair enough?
More than fair.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is that your Infomark's contract is going to be up here, I think, 2 years, right?
2 to 3 years. In 2 years, I think they're up.
2 years in March, right? So a little over 2 years. So you're going to have your option, and what would put it in is that it's, terminable on X number of days' notice in the event that Infomark is no longer under contract to provide operation and maintenance services for the town facilities. And that way you could terminate. So,
Okay. All right, good, thank you. Any further
Just to
questions?
clarify, the reasoning is they have a office now in Carmel that they're no longer going to have?
So
So
they
need
had
this-
they had an office years ago, and they just, because of the team, they want to be able to sit down and have meetings inside a building. They just meet outside or on the back of a pickup,
Okay.
according to what I've been told, so they just want to meet indoors, and this would be a perfect spot. They could set up an administrative assistant there who works primarily on our projects. Her name is Carrie, so she's been around, so she's not on site right now.
I'm familiar with the trailers, they're good. I think they'll be sufficient for what they need.
They're the ones who came up with this. We didn't offer it, they offered it, they came to us, we didn't go to them.
Okay.
Rich, do you know if the highway superintendent is aware that that this is being proposed, a trailer at that site?
He's not aware of it, but it wouldn't impact, I can make him aware of it. I don't believe it'll impact his, they already all meet there as is.
Yeah.
Park over there. This trailer would be on the opposite side of where he does any of his operations at the salt shed, but I will make him aware
Yeah,
of
do me a
it.
favor, make him aware of it.
No problem.
This way he knows.
No problem.
Well, it could be
Because-
parking, it could
Yeah,
be
because
various
during
things.
winter activities, during snow removal, there's a lot of trucks going in and out of there to load up for salt. So there's equipment in and out. I just want to make sure that he's aware of it, that there'll be other activities there involving an office trailer.
Okay, understood.
Okay?
And also regards to that there'll be ample areas for them, for the people that are meeting there to park their vehicles, so they won't impede with the highway department equipment coming in and out.
We'll do that, but they already, so let me stress, they already meet there. They already are doing this there. They just don't have a trailer to do
It's
it.
the district property in which they're the operator, that they're looking to get it on.
I know-
One of the district properties in which they're the operator, so.
And it's
I
on
know-
the-
I know
They can't interfere with highway.
I agree with what Bob is saying, though. There should be language in there that at no time will any activities interfere, or use of the trailer interfere with any highway department-related activities at that site.
Any other
Right, Bob? Is that what?
Right. Any other lawful town activity being conducted at the site.
Right.
Understood, made the note.
Okay, good point.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Anybody else have any other questions for Rich? That's it? All right, and 11, Carmel Fire Department, consider request to authorize approval and execution of agreement for Carmel Fire Department pursuant to Internal Revenue Code, Section 147F. Greg, can you handle this one?
I absolutely can. So, as the board is likely aware, the Carmel Fire Department is undergoing a series of renovations that they've come to this board to inform them of and ask for a waiver of the site plan fees, if you recall, and they are certainly before the planning board to get that site plan approved. There's financing that they've secured in connection with the improvements that they're going to build, and that financing requires a town board acknowledgement and approval. It's the jurisdiction where the fire department lays. You are a contractor, or they are a contractor for you, and this is something that's done in accordance with the Internal Revenue Code, Section 147F. So typically, we've done it with Mapac Falls. With their renovations, we've actually done it with Mapac Volunteer Fire Department with a recent equipment purchase, very similar types of circumstances where there's financing involved. The board has to pass an acknowledging and an authorizing resolution for the lender to fund the loan. I'm reading it a little differently than their counsel does. He's indicating that the town board has to have the public hearing. My recollection is that the fire department has to have the public hearing.
Right.
But one way or another, next week I'm going to have a resolution for you, either calling a public hearing or approving the financing for your consideration. And I'll square it up with him as to which one I believe the fire department has the public hearing and not the municipality. But I'll check them.
Yeah, I think when we did it for the Falls Fire Department, they had the public hearing.
I think that's provided for in the code. But Mike's a sharp guy, okay? If he thinks that we should have it in order to best protect the fire department, then we'll do it. My recollection is the other way, but I'll square it up, and you'll have something on for consideration next week, either a resolution setting a public hearing or an authorizing resolution acknowledging the borrowing. Okay?
Okay, great. Thanks, Greg. Okay, that completes the agenda items for this evening's Town Board work session. I don't believe there's going to be anybody here for public comment, so we'll move to board announcements. Does any board members have any announcements they'd like to make?
Just one announcement. Most people who operate motor vehicles hopefully should know that from April, the state had suspended any citations or tickets for those who had not updated their car registration or inspection. That expired on December 1st. So if your car hasn't been registered or inspected, please get it done so, because you can be subject to a ticket. I would suggest using local mechanics and local places to get that done. If you have an expired driver's license, you still have until at least January 1 to get that done. You will not be cited for a expired license. To January 1 so far, I have not seen anything that's changed. And in our discussions with the county, they haven't noticed anything about that yet. But if that does change, I will let you know. But definitely get your vehicles registered and inspected. We're already 9 days into the month, so you can get ticketed, okay?
Okay, good. Thanks, Frank. I just have, I want to let the public know that the new traffic lights at Route 6 and 6N in Mahopac have been activated. It's been a DOT project that's been ongoing probably for 6 months now. Most of the bank of lights have been moved a little slightly further west, so the stop bars, which are the white lines that are on the pavement that you stop at when there's a red light, they've been moved a little bit further west. But the biggest improvement that was made there that I could see I mean, the whole project was a benefit, and it did improve, but the traffic, people leaving the bank parking lot, which is going to be the future municipal parking lot in Swan Cove, that's signalized now. So when you pull up to leave the bank, there's a traffic light in front of you that will allow you to turn left. So the lights will cycle through. There's sensors in the pavement, so it'll sense a car sitting there, and that's what triggers the lights to change. If there's no car sitting there, obviously that light's not going to change. But you can now exit the bank safely and make a left turn to go east on 6, or you can actually proceed straight and go westbound on Route 6. So having a light there at that signalized location, it's going to be a big benefit to the municipal parking lot when it's finally built out, and to Swan Cove as well, the users of it. And the bank patrons can now exit safely without taking their life in their hands pulling out of there. So it works out very well. I see a lot of people are using it. They're getting used to it, and that project's completed. Sidewalks are completed, and so things are moving along down there somewhat. But I hope that Insight has their part of the design, the scoping part of it for the design. That needs to be completed quickly. Or there was a December deadline that we talked about earlier that we're going to make sure that they submit that to us, so we can keep this project moving forward. Right, the concepts. Alternate concepts, some scope, yeah, conceptual design, so that's important. And but anyway, just wanted to let the public know that the lights are activated. And Bob, did you have anything?
All I can say that comes to
Anything?
mind is watch out for ice. The weather's changing. Nights are getting cold, the ground's staying cold. In the morning, when you go in your car, watch for ice, slick spots. When you're walking on the sidewalks, you see something that looks like water, watch, make sure it's not ice. And just be careful.
Thanks, Bob. Mike, did you have anything? Okay. Frank, you already did? Okay. So we don't have executive session tonight. The next time we'll be back here is next Wednesday, December 16th, for a town board voting meeting. At that meeting, we will be appointing the new chief for the town of Carmel Police Department. There'll be a resolution authorizing his appointment with an effective date of January 4th. So, but it'll be next Wednesday because that's our final voting meeting of the year, and that's when we'll be doing that. So we look forward to that. That'll be a good meeting. So, all right, so I get a motion to close. So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough and Councilman Shano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Be well.
Good
Stay
night.
safe.
Stay
We'll see you
safe.
next Wednesday, December 16th, 7 p.m.